It is official. Late yesterday, New York Judge Arthur Engoron formally ordered Donald Trump to pay $454 million, including interest, a move that will now give the former president 1 month to post nearly $500 million to appeal the civil fraud verdict. On Thursday, Trump's legal team asked Engoron to push back enforcement of those penalties for 30 days. But in his order, the judge rejected that, writing, quote, "You have failed to explain, much less justify, any basis for a stay." Back with us at the table, MSNBC legal analyst Mary McCord. She is the former acting assistant attorney general for national security at the Department of Justice and co-host of one of my favorite podcasts, Prosecuting Donald Trump. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
Mary, can you just break down what that judgment now means for Donald Trump? And as you say that, I want to put up the case, the civil fraud case, officially entered $464 million, as Alicia said, and his company, again, an extra $111,000 in interest a day until the judgment is paid.
Well, that's so interesting, right? Because it's just and counting, right? There's just going to be, it's going to keep accruing every single day. And really what this means is either Donald Trump, who has pledged through his attorneys that he will appeal. To appeal, he has to pay a bond, as Alicia said, and that means he can either put up the cash, and that bond usually has to be more than what you actually owe, because for one thing, you're going to have more interest accruing on it, and another thing, they just want to make sure you're going to have the money at the end of the day if you lose your appeal and you have to pay out this judgment. So he's either got to come up with that kind of cash, or he's got to get a bond from somebody giving him a bond. Now, you know, it might have been that through all these years, lenders were willing to kind of look the other way when he was inflating assets. But, you know, now with these kind of judgments against him, this on top of the judgment in the E. Jean Carroll case of, you know, nothing, you know, another $90 million, not insubstantial. You know, it could be lenders are going to feel a little bit differently about it. He also can't get his loan from a New York financial institution, and they would want collateral, and his collateral is mostly tied up in real estate, which is, you know, not always something that lenders want to have as collateral.
Speaking of real estate, I want you to take a listen to something that AG Tish James had to say about one specific piece of real estate.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets. We are prepared to make sure that the judgment is paid to New Yorkers. And yes, I look at 40 Wall Street each and every day.
Okay, so there are two important pieces of that to me. One is where she says, make sure the judgment is paid to New Yorkers, because often one of the things you heard from Trump's team was that this was a victimless crime. So the idea that they're actually citizens that need to be repaid is one piece of this. And then a comment that must haunt Trump's dreams now, which is, yes, I look at 40 Wall Street each and every day.
Yeah. And, you know, this is how judgments, when somebody is delinquent, doesn't pay their judgment, this is how they get enforced. You go to court, you say, here's my valid judgment, signed by a court of law, which we have Judge Engoron entered that judgment, and we need to enforce. And you get a court to actually order and authorize the seizure of property to satisfy that judgment. And to your point, you know, this case was never about damages. It was never about money that the financial institutions and the insurance companies would get if Tish James won. They didn't bring this case. She brought it on behalf of the state, on behalf of New York. So that money is disgorgement of ill-gotten gains. It's not money to pay to the banks or the insurance companies. It goes to New Yorkers. And I think that's important for people to understand, because if they think this is just a civil case about money between, you know, rich insurance companies and a rich man, that's not what this is about.
And our colleague Alex Wagner, I will just say real quick, had Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, and she made that argument that it is bigger than this, that it's about the fact that he has been grifting New Yorkers for years. I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah, no. I think that that's all very interesting, particularly when you consider what Trump's lawyers are still saying about these matters right now. You have from the Hill, Alina Habba saying Trump is the greatest businessman out there, and more specific. She gets paid extra to say that, quote, President Trump is one of the smartest businessmen and one of the greatest presidents we have ever seen, which has nothing to do with anything. If she thinks she's going to take him down, that goal will not be successful. And that is the message I can give everyone listening here. It will not be successful. So in what part of this process does the court call BS on this? Because that's essentially where we are.
I think that's kind of what Judge Engoron did, yesterday when he rejected the request to stay this judgment for 30 days. And he's like, you haven't given me any good reason. Take it up with the Court of Appeals if you want to take it up, right? And so I think he'll be taken up on that. I think Trump's attorneys will not, when they move they may move to stay this judgment. But again, if they post the bond and appeal, it will be stayed pending that, right? So they just need to take those steps. So I think Judge Engoron kind of thought, well, look, you have another mechanism, and you've said you're going to appeal this. I'm not staying this judgment. But he's been saying to them all along, right?
Right.
I'm calling bullshit. Yes, on
Yes.
that.
Sorry. We're so sorry. Apologize for the language, folks. Mary, you were the former acting Assistant Attorney General for National Security at the Justice Department. Is Donald Trump, given his financial exposure, a national security risk?
Well, yes, because, we're talking about how difficult it might be for him to make this, bond, post this near $500 million bond. But he has certainly plenty of people who might want to bail him out on that. Some of those might be foreign. Some of those might be Russian oligarchs. Some of those might be, people right here in the U.S., Elon Musk, et cetera, whose plane, I understand, landed at Mar-a-Lago several days ago. So, he could have, anytime you're talking about somebody who's running for president or holding any elective office and potentially could have some indebtedness or feeling of owing somebody else something, that's very dangerous. And particularly here, as we know, his fondness for Putin, his continuing praise of Putin and the way he governs Russia. And, that's something where I could very much see people there who have the means helping him out. There could be others in other countries, too. There's plenty of other countries that would like to get some favors from Donald Trump should he become the president again.